Don't say that very me.
Finally revealed, the untold secret behind Jungkook and Taehyung's extraordinary friendship. Watch until the very end, because one small detail in this moment can change everything. For years, fans around the world admired the remarkable friendship between Jungkook and Taehyung. Their playful moments, quiet conversations, and unwavering trust became some of the most unforgettable memories shared by BTS. Countless theories emerged online, but no one truly understood what made their friendship so resilient through every challenge they faced together. In this fictional story, however, an entirely different chapter unfolds. The atmosphere inside the practice studio felt unusually calm. Morning sunlight filtered through the enormous windows, while the familiar sound of music echoed faintly through the empty hallway. The members had gathered earlier than usual after returning from a brief break. Their schedule was packed, yet there was a strange sense of excitement hanging in the air, as though everyone already knew something important was about to happen. RM quietly reviewed several pages of notes while keeping an eye on the others. Jin prepared coffee for everyone, filling the room with warmth and laughter. Jimin stretched near the mirrors, humming softly to himself. Suga sat comfortably on the couch with headphones around his neck, observing everything without saying much. J-Hope practiced small dance movements while smiling at everyone who walked by. Taehyung gazed outside the window, seemingly lost in thought, while Jungkook adjusted the strings on a guitar resting across his lap. Everything appeared completely normal. At least, that was how it looked from the outside. No one realized that both Jungkook and Taehyung had quietly spent the previous several months working on something they had never discussed publicly. It wasn't because they wanted to hide it from the members forever. Instead, they hoped to reveal it only after they were absolutely certain it could inspire everyone around them. The secret wasn't about music. It wasn't about a surprise performance. And it certainly wasn't about a disagreement. It was something much more personal. Years earlier, according to this fictional story, Jungkook had made himself a simple promise after watching the older members support one another through difficult periods. He wrote that promise inside a small notebook that he carried almost everywhere. The notebook wasn't filled with lyrics or business plans. Instead, each page contained handwritten reminders about gratitude, friendship, patience, and becoming someone others could rely on. Without anyone noticing, Taehyung had started doing something surprisingly similar. Rather than writing long paragraphs, he collected tiny souvenirs from meaningful moments: a concert wristband, an old rehearsal photo, a handwritten message from another member, even small sketches drawn during late-night conversations. Every item reminded him that success meant very little without the people who stood beside him. Neither of them knew the other had begun creating these personal collections, not until one unforgettable evening. During a quiet rehearsal months earlier, the electricity unexpectedly went out across the building. Staff members worked to restore power while the 7 members gathered together in the rehearsal room with only emergency lights illuminating the space. Instead of leaving, everyone simply sat together. The silence felt refreshing. Jin joked that they finally had an excuse to stop practicing for a while, making everyone laugh. J-Hope started clapping random rhythms, encouraging Jimin to dance despite the darkness. RM spoke about how quickly time had passed since they first debuted. Suga smiled, quietly, listening more than speaking. Then, Jungkook accidentally dropped his notebook onto the floor. Several folded pages slipped out. At almost the same moment, Taehyung reached into his backpack looking for a flashlight, causing a small envelope of photographs and keepsakes to scatter beside Jungkook's notebook. Everyone froze. The members looked down at the items spread across the floor. There were no confidential documents, no secret business plans, no dramatic revelations, only memories. RM carefully picked up one handwritten page. With Jungkook's permission, he quietly read a single sentence aloud. always become the friend you needed yesterday." The room became completely silent. Jimin slowly smiled. Suga lowered his eyes thoughtfully. J-Hope crossed his arms, visibly touched by the unexpected discovery. Jin chuckled softly before admitting that he never imagined Jungkook had been carrying such heartfelt thoughts for so many years. Then, Taehyung opened one of his envelopes. Inside were photographs that almost no one remembered taking. There was an old rehearsal selfie where every member looked exhausted but genuinely happy. Another picture showed RM helping Jungkook fix a microphone before an important performance. Another captured Jin handing food to everyone after practice. There were photos of J-Hope teaching choreography late into the night. Pictures of Jimin comforting another member after a stressful schedule. Snapshots of Suga quietly producing music while everyone else slept. Every photograph represented a simple moment that most people would have forgotten. To Taehyung, they were priceless. The members slowly realized that neither collection focused on achievements, awards, chart records, or sold-out stadiums. They focused entirely on each other. No one spoke for several moments, not because anyone felt uncomfortable, because every person understood exactly what those collections represented. Years of trust, years of loyalty, years of choosing friendship, even during difficult seasons. RM finally smiled before saying that perhaps those ordinary moments were actually the greatest achievements they had ever created together. The atmosphere inside the rehearsal room changed instantly. Instead of discussing future schedules, everyone began sharing memories that had almost disappeared with time. Jin recalled their earliest dorm days, laughing about tiny apartments and simple meals. J-Hope remembered nights when they practiced until sunrise, because none of them wanted to give up. Suga reflected on how every obstacle strengthened the team's bond. Jimin admitted that some of his happiest memories came from conversations no camera had ever recorded. Jungkook listened quietly. Taehyung did the same. Neither of them expected their private collections to become something meaningful for everyone else. Yet, somehow, those simple reminders encouraged every member to look back at the journey they had traveled together, not through headlines or achievements, but through kindness, encouragement, and countless moments of quiet support. Outside the rehearsal room, staff members announced that the electricity had finally returned. The lights suddenly illuminated the room. Everything looked exactly the same. Yet somehow, nothing felt the same anymore. Each member carefully returned Jungkook's notebook and Taehyung's treasured keepsakes. No speeches followed. No dramatic promises were made. Only genuine smiles exchanged between 7 friends who realized that the strongest memories are often the ones no audience ever sees. None of them realized that this quiet evening would inspire an idea capable of bringing every member even closer in the weeks ahead. That idea would soon transform into a heartfelt project unlike anything they had ever attempted together. A project built entirely on gratitude, trust, and the invisible moments that shaped their journey. And that was only the beginning. The morning after the presentation felt different. No one could explain exactly why, but the rehearsal studio seemed brighter than it had in years. Perhaps it wasn't the sunlight pouring through the windows. Perhaps it was the realization that every unforgettable achievement they had celebrated together had been built upon countless quiet moments that almost faded into history. Each of the 7 journals remained untouched on the table for several minutes. No one wanted to be the first to open one. The weight of the previous evening lingered in the room, not as sadness, but as gratitude. Finally, Benjamin broke the silence. He opened the first page of his journal and smiled. Instead of blank paper, he found a handwritten note from Ethan. Every great journey deserves to be remembered by the people who lived it. One by one, the others opened theirs. Each journal contained a different message, carefully written over several months. None of the notes praised talent, success, or recognition. Every sentence focused on kindness, encouragement, perseverance, and trust. Oliver looked around the room before quietly saying that people often remembered the performances, but rarely remembered the invisible sacrifices behind them. The others nodded in agreement. That simple conversation inspired an unexpected idea. Instead of keeping the journals private, they decided each person would write one new memory every week, something meaningful another friend had done that deserved to be remembered. The rules were surprisingly simple. No achievements, no awards, no compliments about talent, only genuine moments of friendship. Weeks passed, and the journals slowly filled with stories. One page described Lucas staying late to help organize equipment after everyone else had gone home. Another recalled Mason driving across town in the middle of the night just to deliver forgotten sheet music before an important rehearsal. Benjamin wrote about Oliver making everyone laugh during a stressful production meeting. Liam described Noah quietly encouraging him before a performance when his confidence had nearly disappeared. Every page reminded them that greatness was never built through spectacular moments alone. It grew through hundreds of small decisions to support one another. As the months continued, something remarkable happened. The atmosphere within the group changed. Disagreements became easier to resolve. Stress no longer felt overwhelming. Success became something they celebrated together rather than individually. Even people working alongside them noticed the difference. Visitors often commented that the 7 friends shared an unusual level of trust, though few understood where it came from. One afternoon, while cleaning an old storage room, Ethan discovered another forgotten cardboard box tucked behind a shelf. Inside were dozens of unopened letters. The envelopes were covered in dust, each one addressed to a different member of the group. No signatures appeared on the outside. Curious, the friends gathered around as Ethan carefully handed each envelope to its intended recipient. Every letter had been written years earlier, during one of the most difficult periods of their journey. At the time, each friend had secretly written words of encouragement for someone else, intending to deliver them if circumstances ever became overwhelming. But life moved quickly. Schedules became busier. The letters had been packed away and accidentally forgotten. Now, years later, they finally reached their destinations. The timing couldn't have been more perfect. As each letter was read aloud, laughter mixed with emotion. Some messages were humorous. Others were deeply heartfelt. A few contained dreams they had already accomplished without realizing they had once seemed impossible. Noah unfolded his letter carefully before smiling. The final sentence stayed with everyone. If we continue choosing each other, we'll never lose what truly matters. No one spoke immediately afterward. The room remained completely still. Outside, the city carried on as usual. Cars passed by, people hurried along the sidewalks, and ordinary life continued without interruption. Inside the studio, however, the 7 friends understood that they had rediscovered something more valuable than recognition or success. They had rediscovered perspective. That evening, they placed the journals and letters inside a new wooden chest, not to hide them, but to preserve them for the future. They promised to open it again every year, adding new memories and reading the old ones together. As they closed the lid, Ethan looked around the room. Nothing about the studio had changed. The walls were the same. The mirrors reflected the same 7 people. The instruments rested exactly where they always had. Yet, everything felt different, because they finally understood that the greatest legacy anyone could leave behind was not measured by applause, headlines, or trophies. It was measured by the lives they quietly lifted along the way. And with that realization, the 7 friends walked out of the studio together, ready to create countless new memories, knowing that the strongest bonds are often built in moments the world never sees. The story had reached its conclusion, but their journey together was only just beginning.